Well, partner, we got another one, brother. We got another good one. This podcast is going to be special, I think, talking about one of our universities in the state of Virginia.
Yes. James Madison University, we do a lot of recruiting on campus, has a great career services office, and one of the universities that I favor because they are serious about their students having jobs after they complete their studies. So we have two of our command staff members today, one of our executive command staff and a command staff member with over 50 years in policing with the Chesterfield County Police Department.
Believe it or not, one of them used to be my supervisor, and I got him promoted.
Right. He probably wanted to be promoted to get away from you. I see that. So we have Captain Steve Grohowski, who's in charge of our command of our Management Services Division. He can explain a little more about that. He's been with us 29 years. I asked him prior to the show coming on, what was his hometown? He doesn't specifically have a hometown because he traveled all over the country with his father's job, but he's worked in a variety of places throughout the department, both as a patrol officer and vice narcotics, street drugs, and then as a supervisor throughout the department. He's a 1989 grad of JMU. He heads up our Bike for the Blue event every May in memory of officers killed in the line of duty. Does a great job with that. In addition to JMU, in 1989, he recently completed his master's degree in public safety at the University of Virginia, and he's also a National Criminal Justice Command College graduate, which is really good.
He's going to give us a lot of good information about him and hopefully about his career. But he's also a sportsman. He loves sports.
Right,
and
right.
JMU, of course, is playing real good football right now, and I think they got a bowl game coming up pretty soon.
They do.
So we're going to hear a lot about that, and also we got one of our majors.
Yes, we got Major David Chan, who's in charge of asset management, and he can explain that because it's a lot. Fleet, finance, everything that makes the police department move that our public generally does not see. A lot of professional staff who are in charge of purchasing and procurement and a lot of aspects that happen and allow us to carry out a mission of the police department. He has been here 26 years and is a 1997 graduate of James Madison University, and he's also a National FBI Academy graduate with session number 263. Major Shan has worked in our negotiations team as commander, in charge of our PERP, which is the combined aspect of our negotiations and what the public sees as our SWAT team, as well as Marine Patrol. He's been in traffic unit, motor carrier unit, and he is a fourth generation police officer.
Okay.
So there's a pretty good legacy there. And without further ado, I'm going to let's start with Captain Grohowski, and you can say hello and introduce yourself. Maybe I missed something.
Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
That was a great introduction, Elliot. 29 years with the police department, graduate of JMU, and I'm just really proud of JMU. Just a great school, and we have a number of people in the department from JMU, and a number of people on the command staff graduated from JMU. I think four or five. Dave, is that correct?
Four.
Okay. So really glad to be talking about our education, and I did get my master's at UVA, which is we're kind of competitive with UVA, so it took me 33 years to pursue that, but got it done when I was 55 years old. So
good for you. Good for you.
That's a great accomplishment. You were able to build on your attendance at the National Command College and use a portion of that to go on to the University of Virginia and successfully complete that relatively new program within the last 2 to 3 years. I think they've started that.
So yeah, that's correct. And I guess that brings up the bigger point, right, Elliot, that this department has so much to offer and so many avenues where you can just get better and better and better, right? It starts with your basic academy, 8 or 9 months to complete the academy, then the field training, and you just get a great foundation at this department. And then, I think it's an expectation of this department and the leadership and our culture that you will just get better and better and better. You will continue to strive to get better, and that whatever that means to you, we want to see the best for you. So I think that opportunity came pretty late in my career, But to go to the command college in 2019, the program for the master's portion didn't start until 2021, and I got in on the ground floor of that, and then able to graduate in May of 22. So, 33 years after I had graduated from JMU, I was able to graduate from UVA. So, I mean, there's, everybody in this department is striving to be better. So, it's a great culture.
And the opportunities are here.
And I want you to hold that because, again, let's get with our major. And similar to what our captain just said, Grohowski just said, give me your route for us moving from JMU. Because what we try to do is we want to use this to recruit, to go to JMU and give to students there, hear this, and say, I saw the path of two people that graduated from here, from JMU, now they're with Chesterfield County Police. So give me that same story of actually talking to me as I'm a student. Does that make sense? That I can get the opportunity to say, I hear it, I understand it, I want to take that step of being a police officer in Chesterfield County.
Yeah, so I graduated from JMU in May of '97, and I started here in June of '97. And
wow.
Honestly, I'd never been to Chesterfield County prior to entering the process. This was the '90s. This was a little difficult to get a police job back then, and Chesterfield was the first place that gave me an opportunity. And honestly, I never have regretted a moment of it.
Okay.
Law enforcement's a difficult career, and you have your ups and downs. But like Steve was saying, the opportunities for advancement, the opportunities for personal and professional development are virtually unlimited here. You just have to, take responsibility for yourself and work hard and take advantage of the opportunities that are there.
Okay.
And I've worked all over the department, and it's interesting. We come in and we greet, as a command staff, we greet every single academy class, whether it's a pre-cert class or whether it's a basic recruit class, and we always ask, what's your goals? What do you want to do in the department? And because the really cool thing about being a police officer is that, I've had 12, 14 different jobs in the police department that are very different from each other. And some of them are extra jobs and some of them are total assignments. But, I can't think of many other career fields where you can do that without changing employment and without,
exactly.
So that's been the greatest opportunity for me because you get bored in a certain particular area.
Right.
There's opportunity just to move because hard work translates, right? So you can, as long as you put in the work and establish your reputation and your reputation for work and integrity. The world is your oyster here in this police department.
Good. So now you in the command staff, where do you see the community at in having that relationship, not from patrol but from our professional staffing? What do you see in our community now?
Well, I have a unique perspective. Steve went to the National Command College, which draws folks from all over the Commonwealth of Virginia. I had the opportunity and the privilege to go to the FBI National Academy back in 2016, and what that gave me was a snapshot because that draws from all over the United States, and we had 30 students from different countries around the world.
Okay.
And so you really get a good understanding of how things are elsewhere.
Right.
And I came home from that experience because you live there. It's not like you're traveling back and forth every day. You live there. So you build relationships and you really have a lot of time. I mean, you're there all day, you're there all evening, breaking bread with people from all over the world. And you get an understanding of, what I came home with was we work for a fabulous community.
Right.
And we work for a top-notch
Right.
police department. When you hear about some of the things that go on other parts of the country, it's almost shocking to the conscience here because we have it so good.
Right.
Law enforcement has been through the ringer the last 7-8 years, but our community has supported us, and our community has stepped up to show us that they support us through the good and the bad.
Right.
Now let me ask, you both JMU grads, what was your student life like there at JMU? Were you frat guys? Did you go to the parties? Were you library guys?
I was a GDI.
What's GDI?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to say it on this. Okay. Independent. I did not join a fraternity, but I did maybe go to some parties. And,
Yeah.
So I joined a fraternity in my sophomore year. My college roommate, who's now an FBI agent in Richmond, getting ready to retire, he had joined the semester before, and I joined Sigma Nu. But your question was, are you a library guy or a party guy or whatever? I was in a fraternity, but I spent so much time in the library. Maybe I just wasn't the smartest guy on campus or whatever. I had to work hard for my grades in undergrad. And that's one of the reasons why now I have season tickets to the football games, because I did spend so many Saturdays in the library instead of going to the football games. And now I go back to the football games and going out to Texas December 23rd for the bowl game, our first ever. So taking the family and going to be a good time.
So, no, why did you go to JMU?
Yeah.
How did you end up at JMU?
So for me, going backwards, right, unlike Major Shand here, I did not get into law enforcement right out of college. My dad worked for IBM, so I've lived all around the country. I moved to Virginia in my senior year of high school, and we had put in for a number of colleges, but JMU was just the exceptional, right? And at the time, I think we had probably 8,500 people on campus. Now it's well over 20,000, right?
Right.
So in 85, 86, when I, started there. But, out of college, I had a finance degree undergraduate, and I ended up working for IBM for a year and a half in their finance section, and then Xerox for 4 years. So I wanted to get out of that. Just being in the office all the time, and I wanted to get to something more exciting, more important, more valuable to the community. So, I looked at law enforcement, and then Chesterfield County was by far one of the best departments I looked at, and my wife is from Chesterfield, so that's kind of how I got back here.
That'll do it right there.
That's a wrap. That's a wrap. So if we had students today and we wanted to share some of your experience, I know you've been, and Elliot talked about it earlier, some of the assignments that you all have had. What would you tell a student about getting ready mentally for the police department coming out of JMU? Either one of you all can answer that. But that's the part that kids, I say students today don't know the reality of how far they can go in law enforcement. So, everybody, I want to be in vice narcotics, or I want to do this. But there's so many, like you said, there's so many avenues that you can go through.
We have 30 specialized units.
30 specialized units.
I think a little
but
more,
again,
31.
So if you were sitting down with some students right now at JMU, what advice would you give them?
I would tell them to forget everything they've seen in Hollywood.
Oh, wow.
And I would tell them to disregard most of what they see in the legacy media, because this is a people profession. What you see even on those so-called reality shows is those are edited to the point where it's a snapshot, or it's an edited series of events that took weeks or days to play out. The day-to-day work of law enforcement is about people.
Yeah.
And, it's not about always arresting people. It's about helping people. And that is really what it's about. And if you don't, if that's important to you, don't discount this profession, because that's what you do day in and day out. And this is a people profession. It's a customer service profession. The people that live in our community and the people that come to our community are our customers.
Yep.
And we pride ourselves in Chesterfield on delivering a high level of customer service, and that's what we expect of our people.
Good for you. I like that. I like that.
Captain?
I don't know. What I would say is don't make any big mistakes, right? There are things that will knock you out of the process for being a police officer, and I'm sure everybody listening can kind of guess what those are, right? But we get a lot of applications in this department, and I think we take somewhere between 2 and 3% of those people that apply, make it through the academy, and then make it through field training. So put yourself in a good position. It's not that you can't make mistakes. We understand that. Everybody makes mistakes. But just those big mistakes that'll knock you out of this process. Because I have seen good people, really good people, that I wish would be police officers, but they have something in their past that knocks them out.
So what about your hobbies? I mean, we always think we do 24/7 law enforcement, and we hear it all the time. Oh, you work all the time. Let us. What's your hobbies? What do you do? I know you. Of course, you were my Steve. You were my captain. You were my supervisor at one time. What do you do for your relaxed time? That say, I want to just get away, my job. I just want to be me for a moment.
To reduce your stress.
To reduce your stress. Good.
I think the major should go on this one first because you just have such good. Your athletic stuff just blows me away.
Okay, so well, about 15 years ago, I started, found myself. There's a joke, like when we were in the academy, they tell you, police cars have calories, and when you're working shift work and you're doing all these things, and you have kids, and everything compounds upon itself. Life gets messy and life gets busy, and sometimes nutrition and exercise kind of fall to the wayside. And I found myself in a position where I was overweight and I was relatively unhealthy, and I decided to change that. So I got into triathlons about 15 years ago, and that is, that's where I've, put a lot of my outside of the office energy, and it's a solitary sport for the most part, and it's an endurance sport because I started doing the long distance triathlons, the Ironmans, and it is something that it's analogous to life in the sense of you're preparing for one day for almost a year,
right?
And anything can go wrong.
Wow.
But the only way to ensure that it can go right is to do all the work.
Right.
If you don't do the work, it's not going to go well for you. And so I did that up until this last year. My last triathlon was Ironman Coeur d'Alene out in Idaho. I did that in June. That experience and that hobby, because my wife did it with me for a long time, gave us the opportunity to see a lot of the United States and Canada, to go to all these really cool places and experience these races and experience the communities that support the races and the people that are willing to put themselves through, because an Ironman race, depending on how athletic and how fit you are, can be anywhere from a 10-hour to, unless you're a pro, you're faster than that, but like a 10-hour to a 15 or 16 or 17-hour race. Wow. So it's nonstop for the better part of a day. So there's a lot of mental toughness that you have to develop. Beyond just the physical capacity to do the work, there's that voice inside your head that says, "This is stupid. You need to stop this." And that's the thing that I really liked about the sport, was overcoming that voice and winning, because it's analogous to a life in law enforcement, because life in law enforcement can get hard.
Oh yeah,
and you have to have the mental toughness to overcome that, to not quit when that voice tells you to quit. And honestly, that's some of the things that we see in the police academy. Young people come into the academy, and there's a voice. It's hard, and it's hard for a reason, because you have to be mentally tough to do this job. You have to have self-control, and you have to be professional in very trying circumstances. And so we put our folks to the test when they go through the academy. So we want them to develop that voice that overrides the voice that tells them to quit.
Yeah, right. Good for you. Good for you. I didn't know that.
Captain, what's your gig?
Yeah, so I like to lift weights. I like to ride my road bike outside and do the Peloton. And for the last, 15 or 16 years, I've been participating in, and the last, 5 or 6, overseeing Bike for the Blue, right? Our annual law enforcement ride up to D.C., from Richmond, Virginia to D.C., about 113 miles.
In one day.
In one day. And we do it with a number of law enforcement organizations in the Richmond metro area. And we've also done it with some of our federal partners, our FBI. But it's a great time of bonding. It's a great time to show respect and appreciation for those law enforcement officers that made the ultimate sacrifice. And it's on May 13th every year. That could be a Monday, or that could be Mother's Day, Sunday.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
But a really good turnout, and really something because it is 113 miles, and we take it easy going up there, but you still have to prepare for it and ride throughout the year to get in shape to do that. So,
and I will say, Captain is one of the ones that makes it all the way, because I actually got started. He was my supervisor at the time when I got started in trying to make it all the way. I think I did it one time, making it all the way. But he has always made it all the way through the times that I have seen him do it. So again, my hands off to you, my hat's off to you as well.
And when you refer to road bike, you're referring to a bicycle, not a motorcycle.
No, right, a bicycle. Yeah, bicycle.
How many miles a year are you doing now? You got any idea?
No, right now I'm for the most part on the Peloton. So, but I think I think my highest year was 5,000 or a little over 5,000. So
That's a lot of biking to 5,000
yeah,
miles in a year.
I was biking until about the 27th of December, trying to get that in.
Wow.
Good.
That is good.
Well, let's get into a little bit about the families. You think that's good? Let's talk about how your family feel about law enforcement. I know you just said your wife is did the triathlon with you. How does she feel about you in this law enforcement or your family period?
So, like, my family, I'm fourth generation. My dad was a Virginia State Trooper. That's that's kind of put this goal in my head. And then, when I went to JMU, I got a job with the Department of Public Safety as a cadet and then as a cadet supervisor. And that kind of sealed the deal for me as far as wanting to get into law enforcement. I met my wife at James Madison.
Okay.
She also wanted to get in law enforcement. We just happened to meet in the sociology. We had some classes that were overlapping in criminology and deviance, and so we both landed here in Chesterfield. She was an officer for a couple of years here and decided that it wasn't for her, and she's moved on. So she understands. I mean, she's understood that there are times when I'm not going to be able to call her right back.
Yep.
There's times where I'm not going to be able to go to the Christmas party or the birthday party, and as a law enforcement family, you adapt and you overcome. Maybe you have Thanksgiving the day after. Maybe you have Christmas, when you get off shift in the evening.
5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. And it's it really is. Some people would look at that and say that's really a pain in the ass, but. No, it feels somewhat special when you're out there serving your community, and there's so few of us out there on those days like Thanksgiving or Christmas or Easter. Everybody else is home enjoying their families, and they're enjoying their families because there's people like us that are willing to step in the gap and make sure that they're safe to do so. And then when you come together as a family after that, and everyone else is out shopping, but you're having your family time. It's what you make of it versus it's not necessarily an inconvenience. It makes it kind of more special because you're part of that's the thing about this profession is that you're part of something that's bigger than yourself. That's why you have to do it right.
Good for you. Good. I like that.
Captain?
Yeah, I would say, my wife thought she was probably marrying some guy in a suit and tie every day, right?
Well, you got the tie right.
And then, right. And then I come home and say, hey, I think I want to be a police officer. Where you grew up, actually, in Chesterfield, right? So she's adapted to it. She's a good sport about it. I'm sure she had more concern at the beginning of my career, right? But, I think what it comes down to, and I hope the family understands, we train our officers very, very well, right? I mean, we put a lot of time and effort and continuing time outside of the basic academy after they get that foundation. We continue to train officers on best practices, on how to do things the right way. And, we want people to be safe. There are dangerous aspects to this job, and that it's just what comes with it. So I think you have to accept it. And, so I think my wife's done a good job of accepting it.
Good. We're always appreciative of the family support.
Yes, very important. I mean, and I think Colonel, he talks about you got to spend that quality time at home. That's important to make a good officer and a good person is to put that time at home. So, great. Awesome. Well, partner, I mean, good. Any questions that you had?
No, I appreciate you guys coming on with less than 48 hours notice, I think, which is typical for Daryl and I to find people to be on the podcast. We don't want them to think about it a long time beforehand.
I agree.
But
well done. Well done. That was excellent. Well done. Definitely
absolutely.
Well done.
We'd just like for our listeners to know that if you're interested in applying for a police officer position, police service aide, or professional staff member, you can go to joinccpd.org. That's joinccpd.org. And for this week's show, we're going to close out a little bit differently than any other show that we've done in the last 3 years.
That's cool.
JMU Dukes.